So, it's been almost 2 months since No Man's Sky has been released, and I think that it's time that I reflect on the events that occurred. If you don't know anything about No Man's Sky and the details regarding its pre-release anticipation, then you must not be from this planet. I'll sum it up for you. An indie studio named Hello Games revealed a trailer at E3 2014 for their new game, No Man's Sky. Everyone lost their collective shit. 2 years of more hype, lying, and circle jerking later, and the game comes out. And it turns out not to be the greatest thing of all time. For better or for worse, No Man's Sky will become another symbol reminding us how much video game marketing has devolved into the shady mess that it is today. But I think the important thing to consider about this whole incident is what that symbol should represent. What should the overall message be? Should it be that we shouldn't trust what we see in trailers? That we shouldn't pre-order games? That the size of a game world doesn't automatically mean a better experience? I don't know why we haven't learned that one by now. One message that I'm scared will attach itself to No Man's Sky is that games with no real goals, games that focus more on exploration and atmosphere, can't work. And to me, that would be the saddest thing to come about from all this. Even early on in development, when everyone was still losing their minds over the E3 trailer, most criticism came in the form of gamers questioning what there was to do in the game. What goals were there? What kind of gameplay elements would keep the players engaged over time? What was there to sink their teeth into? These are all fine questions to ask, but for me personally, I think that the style of the game that they were showing off was totally fine in its own right. Games with very little focus on traditional gaming elements do work, just as long as an extra amount of focus is being applied elsewhere. And I think that the E3 trailer for No Man's Sky showed us a game where resources were spent doing just that. The only problem is, the game in the trailer is nothing like the final product. And no, I'm not just talking about the graphics, I'm talking about all the mechanics that they hinted at. Hell, there's even things that they specifically said were going to be in the game that never came about. But even before all the PR talk and the interviews, what really got the hype ball rolling was that E3 trailer. And unfortunately, the E3 trailer for No Man's Sky is one of the most misleading trailers I've ever seen. And I'm not exaggerating. A lot of things were implied in this trailer, most of which never made it into the final game. Let's just go through a bit of the trailer here. Already we get something to pick at. The sound design in this trailer is on a whole other level. Usually this kind of stuff is taken for granted, but our brains still process this stuff. You can hear crickets humming, birds chirping, different kinds of birds chirping. Like I said, it's all subliminal, but it's important stuff. Let's move on. This planet is beautiful. It really is. All the cool colors of the butterflies and the plants contrasting with all the warm colored trees and animals. I mean, look at these things. Those guys are majestic as fuck. That's some Monster Hunter shit right there. And to think, it's all procedurally generated. Except it's not. One would assume that a game that has procedurally generated planets would show a procedurally generated planet in the trailer. But no, this scene is one crafted for the trailer experience alone. But of course, they never specifically said that the planet was procedurally generated, but it doesn't matter. That assumption is already in the player's mind just from watching the trailer. But alas, let's move on to what might be the biggest implication of them all. This shot right here implies so much about the world of No Man's Sky. The fact that the AI was interacting with the other AI in the game. This is the moment in the trailer when the world around you changes from being just a beautiful set piece to an actual living, functioning ecosystem. One of the struggles of designing a game world is designing it in such a way that makes it feel like it wasn't built for you and you alone. To make a game world that feels like you're only a small interruption in what's an already functioning narrative. To feel like things would be still happening if the main character was absent. Some games pull that off pretty well, others not so much. What No Man's Sky just did here is imply that there would be a rich volume of AI interaction, that certain species would act differently towards others, and this one interaction alone opens up a whole new array of theory. If the animals have an effect on each other's actions, then that must mean that the AI in this world are constantly having an effect on the game world, that things are happening on each planet without my influence, that maybe the spaceships shown later in the trailer are actually having a space battle that I'm not even involved in, that maybe this universe is alive. Well, it turns out it's not alive, and that animals don't actually interact with each other, and factions aren't having space battles around the galaxy. Regardless of your final thoughts on the game that was released, the game that was implied in this trailer never actually came to fruition. Which brings me back to the question, what lesson should be learned from all this? Well, I think the message should be a simple one. Let them earn your trust. And no, this isn't another video telling you not to pre-order games. What I mean is this. That E3 trailer, the one that really put this game on people's radars, was shown on June 9th, 2014. That's over 2 years ago, which means that the game was nowhere near completion, and that this trailer was nothing more than a concept. They wanted people to trust that they could pull something like this off. Maybe in a world where video game studios were all truthful about the way they marketed their games, then we'd be able to be a little less cynical. But we can't. We live in a world where video game studios will lie and be dishonest to peddle their games. And in a world like this, you would think that trust would be a little more valuable than it is now. I feel like a well-established studio like that game company wouldn't get any more trust than some random indie studio shooting promises left and right. We're very quick as gamers to just give our trust to anyone who asks for it. But trust should be something that's earned. Something that's valuable enough to game studios for them to actually want to earn. We get lied to all the time because studios know that the trust of gamers is expendable, and that all it takes to gain it is to show off a few good-looking trailers. My point is, when it comes down to new developers, be cynical. You're not being pretentious because you're not getting hyped or pre-ordering a good-looking game. You're showing the industry that you have to earn your trust before they get your $60. And for the studios you do trust, whether that be CD Projekt Red, Monolith Soft, From Software, or Atlas, those are the games you do pre-order. Those are the games you do get hyped for months before release. Let the trust that they gained be an asset for them, and that gives other developers the incentives not to lie to their customers. Then that must mean that the AI in this world are constantly